Greetings, HP Touchpad users. This is Reverend Kyle, your Minister of Mobile Devices. And in this video, we're going to look at something that has kind of been an enigma for me for a while, and I've really wanted to dig in and play with it, and that's called USB hosting. Now, it's native. It's part of the Cyanogenmod builds that USB host is available, built right into their Android ROMs, as long as the hardware supports it and you do it correctly. So I'm going to show you here is my HP Touchpad, which is running Cyanogenmod 9 Alpha 2. I have not loaded any of the Nightlies, although I would assume that this would work there as well. The big piece that I had always been missing was the hardware, and so I'm going to show you the hardware that I have purchased to perform this function. Now, the first part is this guy right here. This is a USB OTG or on-the-go cable. It's basically a USB full-size female on one end, and on the other end is a very conveniently L-shaped micro USB male. And so this plugs right into my touchpad. Now, the other cable that I had to purchase is a Y cable, and these come in a variety of different flavors and whatnot. The one that I purchased has on one end two male standard USB, and on the other end is a female standard USB. And this is kind of how it all fits together, is you're going to plug the on-the-go cable into one of the males, like so. So then that will then plug into the USB port on your touchpad. Now, what are we going to do with this other side? And this is where the HP Touchpad is rather annoying. The reason why you need this other one is you need to provide it power. So the kind of power that we're going to use, I've seen people power this with their computer. I've seen people power this with a USB hub. I've seen people power this with an external USB charger. I don't know if that's necessarily the best thing in the world, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, I have a USB hub here. It is powered, and thus the little LED light indicating that it's powered. And I'm just going to plug this right into that port, and that's generating power. So now that port is powered. Now, what am I going to do with this USB female end? Depending on what you're going to do, you can either plug your device into this. So if you were going to plug a keyboard or a mouse or a USB stick or something of that nature into this, it would now run, it would be recognized by the Cyanogenmod 9. I'm going to take things a step further. I'm going to use another cable. This is a standard USB cable. Actually, this is the USB cable that came with my USB hub. So I'm going to plug that in there like so. And the other part, which would normally, it's just a mini USB, goes into the back of the hub. So if I was going to plug this into my computer, I would plug that into there, and then this part would just go into the computer. Instead, I'm plugging it into the other end of my Y cable. So now, what I've done is I've provided for myself three ports, 1, 2, 3, three USB empty ports that are connected, in theory, to my touchpad. So, that's where the keyboard and this mouse come into play. I'm going to plug both of these devices into my USB hub, which should then give me, and I'll throw these cables back behind here. That's the one problem with all this, is you have a convoluted mess of cabling now. Now, and I don't know if you can see it or not, and I'll zoom in so you can. I now have a mouse. As you can see down in the bottom right hand corner, I now have a mouse. Let me adjust this just a bit here so I can show you what I'm capable of doing at this point. Okay, so I have a USB mouse, and I can click on the menu and open it, I can flip over, or I can pull it back. I'm doing all this with the mouse. I'm not touching the screen. Go back to home. I can drag my screens. I can go into the Play Store. I can click around, click on apps. So it does exactly what I would expect it to be able to do. Now, let's zoom out a bit and play around with some other parts of this. I'm going to go back to home, click on the home down in the bottom left. I downloaded an app, simple app called Notepad, I believe it was. Where is that? I'm going to use the scroll wheel here to scroll down one, which did work, and the scroll did take me to the next screen. There it is, Notepad. I'm going to click and hold and drop it on my screen here. Notepad. So if I click that, it shows that I was already typing here. So I'm just going to hit enter, and you can see it's working. And just to show you, the mouse and the keyboard both work together at the same time. Some people were indicating that wireless Bluetooth devices were not both functioning at the same time, at the same speed. So I just wanted to show that wired connectivity. Let's throw another element into this. I happen to have a SanDisk Cruiser. I believe this is an 8 gig thumb drive. I'm just going to plug this guy, if I can get it to fit, right into the back of the USB hub. It lit up. It lit up. Let's see what we got here. I'll cancel this and go back home. If I go into ES File Explorer, well, it's actually trying to play something. Okay. So now if I go into ES File Explorer and I go into my favorites, look at that, mount USB disk. So if I click on that, there's the stuff from my USB disk. One of the things that I have on here was a Harry Potter movie. It's a Blu-ray rip.
It's the mark again. It keeps cropping up.
And it looks like it's working pretty well, let me tell you. Okay. So basically what I've done here with the right apps and the right setup, keyboard, mouse, USB drive, touchpad, I've basically given myself the ability to turn this into a quasi workstation. I could very easily get some level of office software on here, the potential to be able to put something like Splashtop on here and remote into a Windows machine and use the keyboard and mouse with that. At this point, there is no limit to what you can do with this setup. I'm very pleased that I finally broke down and bought these cables so I can do this setup. Now, I'm sure that the implications for gaming as well would be pretty amazing. You could probably do some really fun games using this. Let me just jump in to Twitter and see if all is well. I'm just going to go ahead and hit this and type in hello world. Okay, so it looks like that works. Escape. Do I want to save changes? No. Discard. The arrow keys seem to work. Escape goes back. Looks like tab cycles through all the different devices. Windows button does nothing. Okay, so again, the cabling you need, the OTG or on-the-go cable, the Y cable, and what I'll do is I'll put links to the products that I purchased in the description of the video so you can take a look at that. I'm going to throw one more thing in here before we go. I have here a battery. This is an emergency charger for a cell phone. So it's just got a USB port up here. So it basically holds a charge and it'll charge your cell phone, and you can see that it's full charge. I'm going to unplug the power from all of this, which when you unplug all of this, you do get a process Android process.media has stopped. That's probably because of the SD card. But I'm going to plug in this just for a mobility aspect of it. And I'll show you that the mouse and keyboard still function. So everything still works as we would want it to. And this is giving you a level of mobility. So if you didn't need to be tethered to a wall, to a powered USB hub. Now obviously I'm still using the hub to connect multiple devices. And my USB drive is still lit up, so it's going to work as well. Something to play with. Again, it seems like it's something that could give a lot of potential for the people who use this correctly. This has been Reverend Kyle showing you how USB host mode works on your HP Touchpad running Cyanogenmod.